Hi, I'm Alex McColgan and welcome to the 100,000 subscriber special video of Astrum. A really big thank you to you all for subscribing, for being here on my channel and for making this dream of mine possible. I'm really excited to see what the future is going to bring. First thing you might notice is that there's a new branding and logo for the channel. It's quite similar to the old one, but I really like it as it just seems a bit more polished. And a big thank you to Casper Allenbach, who did the work for me. I'll link his website in the description below, so if you want to check out more of his work or maybe commission your own work from him, then please look him up because he's a great guy. I really like working with him. That really was one of the surprises I wanted to show you guys at 100,000. I've been saving it for about 10,000 subscribers now, but I just think it makes the channel seem a bit more polished. Another thing I wanted to do for this video was to answer your questions, be it about space, about me, anything at all really. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of the questions you asked. If you could visit one known planet or moon in your entire life, which one would it be? It doesn't need to be livable or safe for human life. For this question, you'd have to take into consideration what you can see with your natural eyes, because there are some things like Hubble can see nebula, for instance, but they're really hard to see just by looking at them, even if you were in space, because they're very, very dim. Hubble has the advantage of having a huge amount of exposure time in order to pick up all the light. Our eyes see it in real time. So I think for me, the most interesting thing to see that I know of in space would be Titan, like actually being on the ground on Titan. And the reason for that is because of its methane lakes and its very thick atmosphere. It's got a big atmosphere, so there would be clouds in it. It actually even rains methane rain on Titan. So that visual would be spectacular by itself, but also the lakes have hardly any ripples on them whatsoever, so they just appear like a glass sheet kind of thing going across for hundreds of kilometers. And some of them are very shallow as well, some of them only a couple of meters deep across the whole lake. And so I think that would be a really interesting thing to see. Here's another question that lots of people ask, but this one's from Rhinos. Where and what have you studied? So lots of people think I studied astronomy, when actually it's just a hobby of mine. And what I studied, in fact, is filmmaking in university, and I've just finished my bachelor's on it now. You may have noticed, if you weren't already aware of that the number of videos I've been making the last few months has increased dramatically. Before I was making about 6 videos a year at most, and that's because I was studying full-time and I just didn't have the time to dedicate a lot of resources to Astrum. But seeing as Astrum has grown so much, I've been really interested to put more time and effort into it. And seeing as I finished my bachelor's now, and I'm happy to say that I even got a first-class honours, which is the highest grade you can get in filmmaking. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with that. And so now I can dedicate myself full-time to Astrum. Starmole asks, what is my favourite sci-fi novel? He needs a good recommendation. Well, I'm not sure if I have a favourite one. I have read quite a few sci-fis, but my real issue with sci-fis at the moment is because I come from the perspective of researching a lot about the realities of space. When I read a sci-fi, I'm like, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. And it really ruins my experience somewhat, unfortunately. What got me into astronomy? Why do I enjoy it? And why did I decide to start this channel? So, funnily enough, I started this, my interest in astronomy grew from a very young age when I was watching, what's her name? Mrs. Something's Magical School Bus. There was a computer game which you could play, and it basically, she would go through the solar system and there was like little mini games, but there was also facts about the planets, and that really caught my imagination, and I played it all the time when I was about 6-7 years old. I think that really sparked my interest in space, and since then I've always loved it. I decided to start this channel because I was really tired of going on YouTube and looking for space documentaries or just something about, I don't know, a planet. And I would go and there would be an hour-long documentary. It wasn't hard to find documentaries. What was hard was to find ones that just got to the point. There was so much fluff around some of these documentaries. It really bothered me because it was just like, here's Saturn, and then CGI and lots of wishes and transitions. Just like, I just want to see what it actually looks like. And when I actually did my own research then and looked up in NASA websites and I actually saw a picture of Saturn for the first time, I was like, wow, it's so beautiful. Why don't they just use that? You know, to me it just didn't make sense. I was already thinking about studying film at university, and so I knew that I needed to have a really good portfolio in order to impress the admissions people. And so I started to put together my hobby space and my other hobby film, and I was just like, I'll just make a documentary. First of all, I did it about the scale of the solar system. My very first video on the channel. It's not very polished or good compared to my current ones, I feel like, but I just thought it was a cool concept to have a football, or a soccer ball to Americans, and which is about 11 inches across, and then see and use that as the sun, and then see how big the solar system would be if the sun was the size of an 11-inch football. And it turns out, like, I had to walk about 4 kilometers to get to Eris or Ketaner, I think. And so I just put it on a YouTube channel, and I called it Astrum because Astrum means star in Latin, and I just thought that was a really cool name. And I just let it sit there for a bit. And I actually had another YouTube channel, which I won't post a link to here, but it's somewhere on YouTube, where I just made short films. And I really was trying hard to push for this because I wanted to make short films. Filmmaking really was my hobby, and I wanted to study it. And so I was really pushing for this channel, but it was so hard to get subscribers. I was only getting like about, I think my max was about 89 subscribers. I was like, this is not working. But on the other hand, this one video on Astrum channel I made, it was just picking up subscribers by itself organically. And I was like, that's really interesting. Maybe it's got a bit of potential. So then I made a video about Mars, which is the second video on my channel. And I put it on there, and it got like loads of views. And again, I was just getting subscribers. I was hardly trying for this. I was really pushing for my short film channel, and it kind of grew up organically, and that's what I really like. So I was like, okay, this has got potential. So I used it anyway as my portfolio, and I did get into university with it. This one says, Astrum has a lot of really cool fans / a great fan base. I have to agree with you there. Very true. This one says, I'd be interested in hearing your opinion on the privatization of the space industry and what the future could look like in terms of public-private partnerships. That's a really interesting question. I think I'm really excited about the privatization of the space industry because I think it's going to drive a lot of competition to make it more efficient and more cost effective, which should mean that we can get more missions out in the future, because NASA does have quite a large budget of several $1 billion, but so much of that is spent just getting the object into space that we don't have that much money for many missions really, and the budget is getting cut back slightly here and there and stuff like that. So privatization is good because it should mean that even if NASA still has the same amount of money over the course of the next decade or several decades, it should be getting cheaper and cheaper every time to actually make to do missions. And so hopefully that would mean that there will be more missions in the future, which is very exciting for the future of the space industry. I've got this question a few times about my move. I told, if you've been following my channel's progress, you'll know that I've just moved to Switzerland again. Is it because of a job that I study there? And can I speak French or German? I can't speak French, aber ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen. Aber nicht ganz gut. My wife is Swiss and she speaks German or Swiss German as her first language, and so I've made an attempt to try and learn it. but languages really aren't my forte. But yeah, I gave it a go, so I can speak the equivalent of B2 German, if that means anything to anyone. Is there an end to space? Well, we don't really know. Some people think the universe is infinite, and it could well be, and some people put a definite amount on it, and again, it could be. There could be more than one universe. The thing is, we can only see so far right now, and beyond that we have no idea because we can't see past it, so it's all just theory. What's my favorite video that I've done? I really did enjoy making Saturn, but also I really enjoyed making some of these Mars flyover videos, the high-rise videos, because the detail on it is so incredible, and it's just like I really hope I conveyed this well in the Mars video about Valles Marineris, because there was this one picture where there was a cliff face, and you go down the cliff face of the gorge all the way to near the bottom. And as I was scrolling through it myself, I was just like, it just keeps going. It just felt like I was looking across at the cliff face on Mars and kind of just sinking down, and you could see like individual rocks and the trails of the rocks as they'd fallen down the side and things like that. To me, it was just breathtaking. I was just like the whole way through it. And I really hope I conveyed that across, because I really enjoyed making those videos. What I don't enjoy making about those videos though is the rendering times, because my computer's not great. But and it's 4K at 60 frames a second, so I think that video took me several attempts and in the end 11 hours to render. Another question I get is, where is my accent from? Well, I am Welsh, but I have also lived in England as well as South Africa and Switzerland and Germany. And also I've spent a lot of time around Americans, so my accent is quite corrupted. My wife described it as an idiolect, which means it's an accent all to itself, which I quite like. I think it describes me quite well, because I think if you listen carefully, you can kind of hear a Welsh tint. Yeah, sometimes it's just a mix. Lots of people are asking about terraforming, and while I think it's a really cool concept in theory, I don't think we are anywhere close to being able to terraform a planet. We haven't even got humans to a planet other than Earth, and so that's step one. And once we get past step one and have people stay there for any length of time, I think we can start looking at how do we terraform it. I think that's enough questions for today. Really big thank you again for being a part of my channel, because it's really, I feel like it's not just mine, it's yours as well. When you support me by either writing a comment of support or something, it's the motivation I need to keep making videos, and I really do. I read every single one of your comments, so a really big thank you to those who do write. I'm also thinking about doing something a bit shorter on my channel. Maybe once every fortnight I'll release a video which is just a minute long, but it answers a space question that lots of people seem to have. Something that doesn't deserve a whole 10 or 15 minutes explanation, but something that could be answered in just 1 minute. I think that would be really cool, so I might start experimenting with that in the future, so if you look out for that, you'll know what that is. I'm also really interested in either starting a Reddit page or a Discord channel or a forum on a website, just so we can get a place where we can have a bit of a community going. Like if you want to talk about some of the stuff we talked about in the videos, you have further questions which I didn't answer very well maybe in the video, it might be a good place for some discussion. So yeah, let me know what you think of that. I think that's all we got time for today. So a big thank you again, and all the best, and I will see you next time.